Here we go. Placing my hands on my heart and taking in that deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for this opportunity to open our hearts and minds to receive the teachings of A Course in Miracles. So grateful for our willingness, dedication, and devotion to living these teachings, to living the love that we are, to being the love that we are. We're so grateful for all of our teachers, both here on this earth plane and in the heavenly realms. We ask them to join us now, surrounding and supporting us, leading and guiding us, blessing each one of us, and blessing this call. And we're so grateful that we get to share those blessings with everyone because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So we are in chapter 10, the end of sickness. Would anybody like to begin our sharing? Alrighty, well, I can begin. So I feel like the thing that spoke to me the strongest in this section was, I always forget to write that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In paragraph 6, starting with the second sentence. There are no strange images in the mind of God, and what is not in his mind cannot be in yours, because you are of one mind, and that mind belongs to him. It is yours because it belongs to him. For to him, ownership is sharing. And for me, that just speaks of relationship. Our relationship with God, our relationship with Spirit, our relationship with each other, just our relationship in the one mind. And I feel like I just feel like it's in that relationship that is the action of our being, the relationship of God. Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
Okay, further down in that paragraph, the last 2 lines, peace is yours because God created you and he created nothing else. I like that. That was just shown to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla. Would anyone else like to share anything they got from the reading or anything else that's in your heart? Glad you could join us, Leslie. We're quiet today. I don't know. I'm wondering, are we quiet because we didn't get anything from the reading, or we're too confused about the reading, or? Go ahead, Leslie.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm glad I could make it too. I'm in my car, so I'm going to see if it's less distracting. It is only 28 degrees here, so tell me if you can't hear me good because the heater's on. I didn't understand a lot of this reading, but I did have highlighted what Carla had just said, so I thought that was funny. But I loved, and I would actually like to read the entire last paragraph because that is just what meant the most to me. And I actually did write it in my own handwriting just to see if I could really get it more. But so this is paragraph 8. In many, only the spark remains, for the great rays are obscured. Yet God has kept the spark alive so that the rays can never be completely forgotten. If you but see the little spark, if you but see the little spark, you will learn of the greater light, for the rays are there unseen. Perceiving the spark will heal, but knowing the light will create. Yet in the returning, the little light must be acknowledged first, for the separation was a descent from magnitude to littleness. But the spark is still as pure as the great light, because it is in the remaining call of creation. Put all your faith in it, and God himself will answer you. And I just, just when I talked about last week, I didn't see the spark in my brother-in-law at all. And I just don't think I looked hard enough. And I know that it's like I know intellectually the spark is there, but sometimes you just have to ignore your ego, or just, you really have to work at finding it, I think. And even if you can't see it, just in my mind, if I can just say, this person has the spark of the divine in him or her. I have the spark of the divine in him or her. I always pray that my light shines as brightly as can be, but other people don't have those great rays that they know about, the great rays. And I think it's pretty neat that I get to hold the space and get to hold the light for people by knowing the great rays. So it's just a nice way to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, we all have that divine spark in us.
Every single person.
Yep.
And Robin and I talked after last week, and I think you said this to me, Robin, just if you can just imagine them as a little boy or a little girl just running around and having fun, the spark is definitely, you can just see it so easily in children, and then things happen, and then we start judging, and then you think the spark is, even if it's just a little teeny dimmer, it's still there. That's the point.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm glad I made it to the call too, because I was feeling very crabby. It's our Christmas party tonight. The person that was my secret Santa, I found out she's not coming. I'm disappointed, but it's okay. But I got her really great presents that weren't just on her list, but it's okay. She'll get them tomorrow. But I'm like, you know what? I don't always have to be super happy, wonderful, in a great mood to be on the call. I can be crabby and be on the call too. Maybe I'll get cheered up. So hear me up, you guys.
We take you as you are, my friend.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Leslie. Phil.
Hey, thanks, Leslie, for bringing that up, because one of the things that I've noticed for myself, especially regarding the spark, most often I am unable to see the spark in others because I am not able to see it in myself. And I have noticed this oftentimes. Every time I have difficulty, I am not able to see, and I call that disconnection for me, that I am disconnected. The spark is there. I'm not seeing it because I'm disconnected from the spark. I have disconnected myself totally, and I am so much believing in all the stories that I have made, in the stories that, oh, this is hard, and I don't think there is a spark, or I don't think anything is good in this, because I'm so triggered and I'm given to that. And one of the things that I'm noticing in me that I find it difficult, when if somebody, like you do something nice and you do it with all your heart, with the thoughtfulness, and the person will say, oh, I can take that off your hand. But you put so much love into it, and then somebody who probably maybe have their own issues, I don't know, whatever, but they'll say, oh, I can take that off your hand, instead of saying, oh, wow, that is so nice, and I really appreciate what you did, what you have done. But then I am also recognizing my need for them to be the way I want. and I fail to see the spark in me, in how I have created it, and I'm looking for the spark in somebody else, and the way I want them to respond to me, and that is always a disconnection point for me. And I don't get it immediately. It is like after the thought. You know, Leslie, I was really appreciated what you shared on our last week's call. And because, you know, Thanksgiving can be difficult, and any of those celebration can be difficult. And this Thanksgiving, I actually consciously made an effort, and I set, you know, I set an intention. It's not my efforting, but I set an intention to only see God in everyone and in everything that happens. And that really helped me to get through it. I said, no matter what happened, no matter if somebody is unhappy with anything that I'm doing, it doesn't matter, but I still want to see God in them. And I think that is what the connection for me is. And, you know, Linda, you said that everyone is quiet. I found this part of the chapter was a little difficult for me. And I was like going on reading, and I'm like, nothing seems to, I highlighted some things. And one of them was, I think it's paragraph 3. God's laws will keep your mind at peace because peace is His will, and His laws are established to uphold it. And when I make up this story, I'm not even upholding those laws. And the peace is forgotten. I have gone on my own trip, and I'm alone on my trip with nobody else with me. Yeah.
Yeah, out of the relationship.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, I highlighted that too, as well as what came a little bit after, where he says his laws, his are the laws of freedom, but yours are the laws of bondage. Since freedom and bondage are irreconcilable, their laws cannot be understood together. The laws of God work only for your good, and there are no other laws beside his. Everything else is merely lawless and therefore chaotic. And that's how I feel too. When I feel separated from God, I feel like my brain is scattered and I'm living in chaos. Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
Okay, I wanted to go back to what Leslie read in that paragraph 8, and I realized something. In the one line, just part of the line, well, the whole line, if you but see the little spark, you will learn of the greater light. And then this is the line, for the rays are there unseen. I know Jennifer has talked about the great rays, or not in the Course in Miracles too much, but what I wanted to share, not the whole poem, but I wrote a poem, and the first I called it "I Am the Violet Flame," and what's interesting is that when I read it later, I like, what? I call myself the Violet Flame? I'm like, I can't do that. So I changed the title of it to It Is Good instead of I Am the Violet Flame, because I was making myself small. And I realized, and I'm really grateful that she brought me back to that paragraph again, because I got to see this is what I do. I can I speak for myself, but I make myself little by believing my thoughts. And that was shown to me in that paragraph when I realized I wrote that sentence, I am the violet flame, and it says right there. So this happened months ago, almost probably 9 months ago. I read it and I changed it. But here, this is how there's no time and everything works together for good. It's amazing how this was shown to me in my mind, what I was still doing. So thank you, Leslie. That's all.
Thank you, Carla. Who else would like to share? Well, I have a lot of stuff highlighted in here, so I'll just read what I have highlighted. And again, I really have to, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the end of paragraph 5, he says, what you have made is so unworthy of you that you could hardly want it. If you were willing to see it as it is, you will see nothing at all, and your vision will automatically look beyond it to what is in you and all around you. Reality cannot break through the obstructions you interpose, but it will envelop you completely when you let them go. And that, to me, that speaks of removing the blocks to love. And that's our beliefs and our thoughts, that we're not thinking with God. But even when we feel like we're not thinking with God, we are, you know, and we may just be having a crabby day, and that's okay. If we accept, I feel like if I accept myself where I am in the moment, no matter what, then it just kind of eases things up. It allows my mind to relax. It allows my body to relax. And I can feel like it's taking a deep breath and letting it out. Welcome, Caroline. Robin, go ahead. Oh, you're muted, Caroline. Bye, Carla. Let's see if I can unmute you. There, I gotcha. Oh, I still can't hear you.
Increase the volume.
Yeah, check your volume, honey, because you're unmuted. No? Sometimes if you log out and then sign back in, it'll let you, I don't know, it resets something. So maybe if you'd like to try that. In the meantime, Robin, would you like to share? Unmute yourself, sweetie.
Well, I forgot. It doesn't take much, but I do see, I do have things marked off. And, but as you were speaking, I'm not quite sure it was the line that you were on, but I noticed the word calmly. And that's one of my favorite words. So I will read that. It says, it's in chapter, section, paragraph 5. Look calmly at the logical conclusion of the ego's thought system and judge whether its offering is really what you want. For that is what it offers. So if I could just remain in that lovely space of calm, I mean, it's like it takes an effort. It seems like it takes effort for us to choose love. But the moment we choose it, or the moment we take that effort, it's like then you can just rest. Then you can just rest and you can be calm. So there's that little, I guess, for me, it's like practicing over and over to notice when I'm off track and then make that effort to come back. And in that effort is where I calm myself and get quiet, and then I can just rest and breathe. So, I don't know.
Thank you, Robin. Caroline, shall we give it a shot?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I was saying this is the first time I've been to this type of a study group, and I was listening to Jennifer's radio show about not belonging, and as I was having my book with me. I don't have it now with me, but I was reading along with her, and I just started crying and crying because I think I really, really needed that sense of community and to listen to other people who, you know, like I'm not all alone in this. And my life is kind of very busy, and I have a lot of responsibility, and sometimes it's hard to find that sense of calm.
Mhm.
And I really have to work at it. And some people in my household are a little I don't know. I'm judging, but it just makes it a little hard sometimes. So I really have to work at it, and I think it's getting better. But I'm just really happy to be here and to listen to everyone, and I can totally relate to what everybody's saying, and just thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Really.
Thank you.
It just, I mean, I know all of us have these challenges in our lives. And this, to me, it just feels like when I get to come together with you folks and talk about reading the course and understanding the course and how we're applying it in our lives and how we're seeing where we could have applied it when we didn't, it just, it feels like and just an opportunity to build that muscle, to build that spiritual muscle where we can be coming from a loving place more often.
Yeah,
Not always easy. It's simple, but it's not always easy.
that's true.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Should I take off my video thing, or
No,
what should I do?
You're fine.
Okay.
Would anybody else like to share? Good to see you, Rand. And Corrine. Go ahead, Leslie. Oh, you're muted still. See if I can.
I got it.
Oh, you
There we
got it.
go. Okay. Penelope, I just wanted to say that I really love Enneagram stuff, and I felt like last week was at the very end when you were talking about being a 4 or a 6, and I just wanted to put it out there. If you ever want to chat with me about it, I would love that. Am I frozen, or are you guys frozen? I'm the only one that's moving. Okay, there, Penelope smiled. Okay.
Leslie, thank you. Yes, you just broke up slightly, but I did get what you said.
Oh,
and thank you
sorry.
thank you very much. I may take you up on that
Okay.
at some time. Can I also ask, while I'm speaking, that the little bit that Robin just read out, I'm sorry, but I couldn't see where she was reading in here.
Because I was reading the wrong section. I'm sorry, I just noticed because I was like, where am I? And then I said, oh my God, that's the wrong place.
I'm glad we've cleared that up, because actually I was beginning to think I was in the wrong section.
I don't even have my book with me.
It was important to talk about staying calm. Sorry, Leslie, that was in the section of the God of sickness instead of the end of sickness.
Thanks, Robin. I'll just say, actually, I mean, that last paragraph that Leslie read out, I love that last paragraph. I just love that last paragraph. But there's kind of odd little lines in this for me. The one that I'm just looking at now is the beginning of paragraph 5. You are not free to give up freedom, but only to deny it. You cannot do what God did not intend, because what he did not intend does not happen. That to me feels both very reassuring, but also there's a little bit of the rebel in me thinking, oh, that means I can do what I want. So that's what I've just taken from that line. So it doesn't matter what I do. It's great. I can just do anything.
See, I don't understand that line. Can you explain what it means? Because I didn't underline anything in paragraph 5. I was just like, I guess I don't need to know that today because I don't understand it.
Basically,
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. Sorry.
Okay. My understanding of it then is, so this is my understanding of it, that it's, you are not free to give up your freedom. So in other words, we can't, no matter what we do, it's impossible for us to give up our freedom. So for instance, when I'm in those times when, and it's recently it was happening to me, where I just had this sense that I wanted to be free. Well, I can be free whenever I want. The only thing that's stopping me free is that I'm denying it, and the ways that I can deny it is by blocking the blocks to love, by the judgments, the criticisms, the attack thoughts that keep me separate. That's my denial. So therefore, I don't see my own freedom. We are always free. So the next line then is, you cannot do what God did not intend. So there's nothing I can do that God did not intend, because again, the way I interpret that is, we are just sinless. So what?
Excuse me, does that mean anything that you could do that God didn't intend it? I mean, anything?
Yes. So even if so for instance, if I look at, it's really hard for me to get my head around this. If I look at some of the stuff in our news over here, so there was a terrorist attack the day after Thanksgiving. If I look at that, and in my head it's like, that feels and looks so real, and it's not. It's an illusion, and that illusion is there for us to heal something that's unhealed in us. So it's like, if I'm reacting to that image or whatever it might be, it's because there's something unhealed in me. So there's nothing out there that we see, or however we behave, or whatever it is we do, we're just completely sinless. So yeah, I think I've just covered that line, I think, sufficiently. I'm going to stop there.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Yeah, that's perfect, Penelope. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the way I feel about it when I read that line. It's like, when we're not realizing that we are perfectly whole and innocent, it's like we're little kids playing hide and seek, and we're covering our eyes, and we're thinking that that nobody can see us, but we're the only ones who can't see. So, and like Penelope said, when we see what appears in the world to be something that's a terroristic act, or something that we would judge as being wrong and bad, we don't know what the purpose is. We don't have that all-knowing, all-seeing in all directions of time and space. So we can't know what that is for. And the only thing that I know for sure is that if I see something and I'm judging it as wrong and bad, it's my opportunity to pray it's my opportunity to pray for what I'm seeing, to pray for myself, to pray to for Holy Spirit to remove any of my own thoughts and beliefs that might be contributing to that, what I'm seeing in the world. It's an opportunity for me to heal. Go ahead, Caroline.
Well, I hope this doesn't sound silly, but how do you pray for other people?
Well, I use a lot of different prayers. I mean, I can just say, Holy Spirit, be with them, bless them. We use Ho'oponopono a lot, that I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. I use it a lot when my husband's watching the news, because I prefer not to watch the news, but he likes
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. So, if I'm seeing something that that I can feel judgments coming up around, I'll just say Ho'oponopono. If I can't,
Ho'oponopono.
if I can't think of anything else.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because my mom, she watches Fox News 24 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, it's on all day, and I can feel myself, I can feel the negativity, and it puts me in a bad mood.
Yes.
And when I leave, because I take care of my mom on Tuesdays, I'm here in front of her house right now. And but when I leave the house at 6 o'clock, I just feel like, and I just want to get out of there and go somewhere and be alone and deflate. And so that will help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You can just be with your mom and know that her path is her path and your path is your path. And your only job is to love her to the best of your ability and love yourself to the best of your ability. So when you're feeling those feelings coming up, just know that it's okay that you're having those feelings.
Okay.
And, just send yourself some love. Just, put your hand on your heart and say, in your mind, you can just say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And just know that as you're able to take in your own love and love yourself in that way, that love is rippling out. And so whatever negativity is in the room, you can shine the light on it and turn it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That helped a lot. And I can use that in different areas of my life. Yes.
Yeah. Robin.
Okay.
Well, Caroline, I will just add something that I love using, and that is holding a person or the situation in the light. And so as you hear that news, you can just hold it in love and light and in your heart and your mind, and be sending that vibration out.
Okay.
So, yeah. The other thing, as you were speaking, being with your mother on Tuesdays, that's so wonderful, and what a gift to her. And in the Course in Miracles, it says, rise above the battlefield.
Yes.
And the news being the battlefield. And so just reminding you of, instead of thinking negative thoughts and false beliefs and judging, and to just try to turn it into gratitude, or Ho'oponopono, or any of the tools that you can pull up.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, because it's something I do wrestle with, because there's two people in my life that are, I guess I'm judging, but I don't know, but there's a lot of negativity around them and harshness. And that's just the way they are. I'm not, they're not going to change, and that's just the way they are. And so I have to find a way to not let that affect me, so I can stay steady on my path. They're on their path, but I need to stay steady on my path. And I don't want to go to the negativity and the judging and criticizing and all that kind of thing. So what you and Linda just said really helped a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. Rand, I think you might have some experience with this.
Yeah, I was just enjoying this because like I say, I really appreciate what everyone is saying here, especially Robin and others as well, even Caroline. It's this, we all have relatives that take in this heavy duty propaganda from various places. It's not truth. I'm judging it. I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing it's not truth. And, but I'm wondering what the lesson is in all this for me to be exposed to it, or to have family members become sort of, Fox TV talking points when I talk to them.
Yeah.
I feel like I've lost them. And there's that feeling of loss in me because they don't seem themselves anymore. They feel like something else. And that's a judgment, I realize, and I have to let that go. And but yes, it's been traumatizing for me to have relatives that feed off of this and then want to talk to me about it and feed me the talking points that they were fed.
And then when we don't want to talk about it, or we just kind of say, yes, well, I don't know, and then they think we're not interested, or they ask, what's wrong with you? And that kind of thing, right?
Well, I'm thinking now in our family, I'm the only one that still allows my father to do this, and everyone else in our family says, let's talk about something else, or let's talk about something that, we have in common as opposed to something we disagree about. And they all want to pick fights. My father uses this as an opportunity to bully and pick fights, with family.
Well, I think it, as you said, you don't know why. I don't know why either, but I think it might be that when we're confronted with these kinds of situations, whether it be in our family or somewhere, wherever we are in the city or wherever we live, the negativity, I think it's a way of, we need to find that confidence, that self-love, and really hang on to it. And we need to get strong inside. And I think that might have something to do with it, so that when those situations arrive within our families, because they're our family, they're not going anywhere, it doesn't affect us as much. I know, that's what I think. And I think it has a lot to do with faith in ourselves and self-love, and hanging on to what we believe in and sticking to it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Karen, I personally don't have a problem telling people, you know what, you're right, I'm not interested. I'm going to hold them in the light. And Rao's laughing because she knows it's like, I'm not interested in the news. My husband thinks I live in a closet. I mean, something really big has to happen for me to know about it. And if I hear people at work talking about it and stuff, I don't comment. I mean, it's terrible to say, but I don't care. I mean, if I know something, God's gonna tell it to me. And the biggest thing, and I understand those energy vampires, because they can really suck your energy dry. And the best thing that gets me out of it is gratitude. I just start listing, even in my mind or on paper, the things I'm grateful for, and that can really help. I don't know if it neutralizes
I totally understand
the situation or it raises the vibration, but that's what's really helpful to me.
Yeah, I totally understand you. My family thinks I'm weird because I can't watch violent movies. And my son says, but before I used to love them, but no, not anymore. And the news, I don't want to know anything about the news unless it's something really big. And my family think I'm all nuts and weird and that kind of thing. But what can I do? Yeah.
I like being weird. I have no problem with it.
Weird is good.
Exactly.
Yeah, another way that I feel about that too is I see the people that are so involved in that kind of politics and I don't know, just everything that we see on the news, and especially Fox News, that they live in so much fear. They're afraid of everything. And so for me, that's like a huge cry for love, I mean, my father was not a conservative or a Republican or anything, but he lived in so much fear, and that, like, he was afraid. He was afraid of everything, and he got to the point where there was no, there were hardly any people involved in their lives except for my sister and I, and my son and my husband and my sister's wife. That was it, because everybody else was suspect. Everybody else had one kind or another, at one time or another, done something that he disapproved of or judged that was unloving or uncaring or selfish or whatever. And so he alienated everybody from their lives. And I just see that as so much fear. And I remember after he passed away, it had to be like a week or so after he passed away, we found a loaded gun in the drawer of the table where he used to sit in the living room where he sat and watched TV all the time. Loaded. It was loaded, ready to go. Like, if anybody walked through that front door, he was going to be able to grab that gun and take care of business. But
Wow.
I just felt like, oh, my heart just broke for him, because I can't live in that much fear. That takes up so much energy and so much of your just of your life force, being that afraid of everything and everyone. I remember walking at Presque Isle State Park near on Lake Erie, near where I live one time, and I passed some guy going in the opposite direction he was walking to, and he said something to me about, you should really have some pepper spray or something with you. It's not safe here. He's, because I guess somebody had been attacked months ago. And I said, I just don't feel that fear. I can't live being afraid of everything. The way I live is everywhere I go, I know the angels are there with me, and whatever is supposed to happen to me is going to happen to me. And I'm going to be totally protected. And if I'm supposed to have that kind of an experience, I'm going to have that kind of an experience, and I'm going to claim it for my good. That's how I feel. And I don't know if I would actually react that way if something were to happen, but I just know that I can't live with all of that anxiety in my body all the time. Even talking about it, I can feel like all my muscles want to like tense up. My head wants to tense up, So I pray for those people that watch Fox News and believe everything that they hear there. And I'm not to say that it's wrong to be Republican or Democrat or whatever, but living in fear is not healthy. It's just not healthy. And I feel like there's a lot of illness that comes from being afraid.
Linda, can I share something there?
Yeah, go ahead, Marjorie.
Yeah, I'm just tapping into the paradox of what we're speaking about, because it sounds as though what we're saying is that we can't live in fear. We can't accept being around fearful people and so forth and so on. And I certainly get it. But it almost sounds like we're afraid of fear. As though we're actually fearful about being fearful.
Well, it's not that I'm afraid of fear. It's just that I know that it's not necessary. It's not the truth of who I am. The truth of who I am is a being of love and light. And so if I'm feeling afraid or I'm seeing fear being expressed through others, that it's my responsibility to hold the light for myself and for them, and to shine as bright as I possibly can. That saying, kill them with kindness. Well, I'm going to kill them with love and light.
Right.
gonna, you know,
So when we're seeing fear in another person, or we're making an assumption or a judgment or a perception or a discernment even that someone else is living in fear.
yes, but
Basically,
if we're seeing it,
to them. So if we're
yeah,
seeing fear in another person, then that fear is ours.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
So it's just basically the paradox we're being asked to hold the paradox of both and. In other words, this whole conversation that we're having about others is I can just imagine that, and in fact I've even seen it, groups of people sitting around in a circle making the same type of conversation except from the exact opposite. So in other words, they're praying for us. They feel like they've lost us.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like we're the ones who are in fear, and we're the ones that can't accept reality, and we're the ones who refuse to look at the politics and so forth. I mean, I myself, I'm very, very involved in politics. I'm a volunteer for Marianne Williamson's campaign,
Mm-hmm.
so I do watch it, and I keep close tabs on what's going on, and I'm participating in the process. And you know, so I just feel like maybe we're being asked to just go one step further than where we are now, possibly, in that yes, we can choose whatever we want to choose, but whatever we're choosing is part of the whole. So is everything else that everyone else is choosing. So the fact that someone chooses to sit with a loaded gun next to their bedside or whatever next to their table, that is a just and true, that is true for them.
Right.
You know, and the fact that we see it as not being true, or as not being something that we would choose, or something that we feel, in other words, we feel like they are the ones that's living in fear. But because we're fearful about their fear, then we're the ones that are living in fear.
Yeah. Well, I
So
understand
it's
that.
the
And
paradox. It's just being
yeah.
able to hold it all, hold both and,
Right.
hold it all as part of the whole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I was saying about if I see a terroristic act on television
Mm-hmm.
or hear about it, what I'm praying for is the parts of me that have contributed to that.
Mm-hmm.
The parts of me that could be so fearful that I would be that I would lash out like that's how I would express my cry for love.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, because I feel like, you know, sometimes it's easy when we're following something like A Course in Miracles or whatever. It's easy to kind of it's almost comes into that category, I guess you would say, of spiritual bypassing type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or what we are seeing as being true, if we can realize that the opposite of that is also true,
Mm-hmm.
then we're kind of getting close to what I perceive to be truth, you know.
Yes. Well, it's really the judgments
Yeah.
that it is important for us to let go. If we're judging something as good or bad, then we're giving it our power.
Yeah, and I think it also has to do with making a discernment between being in this world and not of this world type of thing. So,
right.
So we are in form, we are in this manifest world, we are human beings, we are limited by our humanity. We do sin, we do make mistakes as human beings. We do live in a world where there is polarity of black and white, right and wrong. And yet at the same time, we also are above this world where none of that exists, where all is love, all is one. So being able to hold the paradox, because I personally feel like our souls chose to come into this world of manifest humanity and experience this polarity, so that we could forget everything that we once knew as being whole, one, you know, so that we could come into the world of form and experience and forget everything, so that we could then remember.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being able to hold all of it. And that's where I feel like sometimes the Course in Miracles is stating one half of the equation, which is perfectly fine, because that's what a sacred text will do. It's going to present one side of the equation.
Mhm.
But then I think as a spiritual being, remembering who I am, that I can hold everything that the Course in Miracles is saying, or that any other text is saying, the Bible or anything, and yet at the same time realize that that is a partial truth. There is more to it beyond that which I cannot know or do not know, that is of the unknown, the mystery, which is God. And to sort of tap into that unknown, that mystery, which is who I am, which is what everything is.
Mhm.
That great unknown, that infinite intelligence, that infinite consciousness that has no beginning, has no ending, and we cannot put it in a box and say, okay, this is what it is. Whereas A Course in Miracles is stating very emphatically, this is the way it is, and that's appropriate for a sacred text in this 3D world. But then there's also much more beyond that. So I consider it all to be partial truths. So I'm trying to hold the paradox of that all. And that's where I feel like I just wanted to speak that into the field. I don't know if it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Well, I know the Course says, that we learn from contrast.
Mm.
And so that's, I feel, how we're allowing ourselves to grow is to experience that contrast
Mm-hmm.
of what we are perceiving in the world. And but I still feel that the truth is that we're love.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only truth. And we express it in many different ways. And in some ways, we may look at it and not see it as love, but we don't know the big picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just brings up everything that I'm saying or thinking or perceiving or just experiencing, just brings up more questions, which I think is probably appropriate, because it just brings up another question. So the next question would be, okay, so whenever I am acting hatefully, am I still love?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yes,
That's
you're a cry for love.
Mhm. Oh, is it a cry for love, or is it love? Is it love that's acting in something that is not loving?
It's love that is looking for love.
Okay. I can hold that. I like that.
Good. Thanks, Marjorie.
You're welcome.
Kareem.
Yeah, I have the purple book. So on at the end of paragraph 5, it says, the last sentence says, reality cannot break through the obstructions you interpose, but it will envelop you completely when you let them go. So to me, that is saying that everything, our judgments, even the good feelings, all the experiences that I have in this world are like all the obstructions that keep me from being in the reality of God. But when I let go of those, then the reality completely envelops me. So to me, it always comes back to letting go, letting go, letting go, whether it's a good thing, a bad thing, whatever I'm going through, which we are in this world to experience. So we are experiencing things, but there's also that part of me when I stay quiet, like Robin, when I take that pause, is that really me? What the truth about me I can connect with when I completely let go of whatever experience of the moment. So that sentence there is what how I interpreted that. And then right after that, it says, when you have experienced the protection of God, the making of idols becomes inconceivable. So we're not going to get there like, that's it. But we're going to keep on getting experiences after experiences until we get to that moment, But this is just a good little map to the goal for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne.
I liked your analogy that this is a map, and there are many maps, and then there's the phrase that says something about the map is not the territory.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you both. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share before we close out today? What began as quiet turned into a rich and lively conversation. As always, I love that. So for next week, I would just like to finish that last section in chapter 10, the denial of God. It's a couple pages long, three pages long. So maybe we'll find out more about what we were talking about this week. That'll be fun. It's a playground. So my reading today from Pathways of Light Insights is for lesson 344, which is, today I learned the law of love, that what I give my brother is my gift to me. The Course is very clear that the world we see is a projection from our own minds. Thus, the brother that I see out in the world represents what I think of myself. Some brothers I seem to like. Others seem to anger me or make me afraid. It's just what we were talking about. They all represent aspects of what I think I am. There is one sun. But because I believe in separation, I see God's one sun in many images projected from my mind, starting with the body I call me. Because I have so completely bought into the thought system of separation, the Holy Spirit leads me from where I think I am to the gates of heaven. Thus, he starts with teaching me to forgive that other brother who seems to not be me. Each time I truly forgive a brother, I feel the blessing of release. I walk with a lighter step, and so I experience the law of love. I thought I gave my brother a gift of forgiveness, yet simultaneously, I was blessed by the gift. As I experience this more and more, I become more motivated to practice forgiveness because I want the blessing of peace and happiness that comes with it. Gradually, it dawns upon me that what I give my brother is a gift to me. Sometimes it looks like my brother's behavior changes, and I may attribute the blessing I feel to his changed behavior. But once again, I remember all that I see is a projection from my own mind. And so my brother's changed behavior is just another form, reflecting the change in my own mind. Perhaps his behavior doesn't seem to change, but with forgiveness in my heart, his behavior has no effect on me. The love in my heart continues to embrace him because it sees past behavior to the face of Christ. With the Holy Spirit's help, I learn to see Christ's face more and more, and that face of innocence teaches me of my own innocence. Gradually, I learn to see every brother as my Savior, offering me the opportunity to see my own innocence. With the Holy Spirit's help, I walk with my brother to the gates of heaven. Here I recognize my brother as myself, and in that recognition of the unity, form fades away, and we are united once again in the heaven that is our home, and I give thanks. The law of love is the law of unity, the law of oneness. The law of oneness remains unchangeable. This is the ultimate lesson that we are here to learn. We can't turn what is one into many separate individuals. We can't do the impossible. Forgiveness means letting go of trying to do the impossible. Forgiveness means letting go of illusions. As we forgive our brother, we learn to see the face of Christ, where we once saw a separate individual. As we learn to practice forgiveness with every brother, we learn to see the same face of Christ in every brother. Thus, our illusions are undone. Through forgiveness, we learn to overlook what never happened. We learn to see past illusions of separation to the one truth that can never change. The face of Christ that I see in my brothers shows me that nothing has changed. My brother is only love and remains eternally changeless, for love is eternal. Seeing the face of Christ in my brother heals my mind. Seeing the face of Christ in my brother reminds me that the separation never happened. Love cannot change into something it is not. Each time I see the face of Christ in a brother, I take one more step towards healing my projections of separation. As I give, I receive. Today is another day of practice, with opening my mind to what is forever true. The face of Christ is all there is to see. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with him. Today, I will practice letting my mind be healed of all thoughts of separation. The brother I see out in the world represents what I think of myself. If I'm not totally honest with myself, I've noticed the people I have the hardest time accepting have characteristics I dislike in myself. I don't claim them or want to own them, so I attempt to get rid of them by projecting them onto someone else. But no matter how much I try to avoid or run away from these people in my life, they still keep showing up in my face. They just show up in a different form, or they play a different role. As I practice forgiveness, because I'm tired of running, I begin to see the Christ in these people, which reminds me of the Christ in me. My brothers and I do have the same characteristics, but they are of innocence, of perfection, of guiltlessness. If I see anything other than this, it is my own distorted perception.
That was just great.
Synchronicity, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love how that works.
Mm.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Linda. Thank
Have a
you.
good week. Love
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye for
you.
you.